What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Fit Your Marketing. What's up, Greg?
Hey, how we doing? We doing good today?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Busy week, new year, a lot of new opportunities, so everything's
Yes.
good.
A lot of people coming in needing help with marketing, which is great for us. So, well, you had a topic you want to discuss today, and
Yeah. So,
why don't you hit us with it?
let's do it. So, one of the biggest um, opportunities that I see for our clients and for people that are marketing their businesses and trying to increase sales is that there is a direct correlation between your ability to sell and your willingness to sell and the growth of your company. Now, if you're in e-commerce, you can kind of put this to the side, but for everything else, every other business, we've really found that a lot of people underestimate the need to be able to actually sell these leads and get people signed up.
Well, it's funny. I laugh because I think the what is it, the preconceived notion or the misperception or is that if you do marketing right and you're able to get people that say they're somewhat interested but they still have to go through a traditional sales cycle that somehow the marketing will do all of the work, right? And it unfortunately it doesn't, because when you get the lead, you still have to have some kind of a sales process in place to make sure that the customer feels like, okay, this is the right solution for me. And I've seen that many times where, we've even done it together where clients will say, hey, I don't know if these are the right type of leads or if the leads are as quality as we need them. And then we end up calling them, like just me and you, and then we end up signing them up like in one day, like not even, it doesn't even take days, it takes one day. And we sign them up on the spot. And so it makes you realize the importance of you need to still fine tune your sales process if you want your marketing to work. In fact, that should be a high priority. Is if I'm marketing, let me make sure my sales process is dialed in.
Yeah, and it reminds me of Alex Hermosi's book, the new one that he just came out with. I think it's $100 million leads,
Yep.
and he defines a lead as simply as someone you can talk to, right?
Yep.
And then he has like a next layer of it. I forget if he calls it qualified lead or something, but it's someone that you can talk to that's actually interested.
Yep.
Now, I think the assumption that a lot of people have is a lead is someone you can talk to that's already sold. Now,
Yeah.
that's never the case. If that's the
That's
case,
actually a great way to put it, because that's what people I think are thinking.
yep. Yeah, yeah. And that's what people are thinking. And so there's an expectation that, oh, this lead came in, I can just throw them the information and they're going to go buy something. But
Yep.
that's not how it works. People, they raised their hand and said, yeah, maybe. But, you got to get them the rest of the way to the finish line.
Well, the other thing people need to understand is when people fill out a lead form or say, hey, I might be interested in plumbing services or a personal trainer or a real estate agent or an accounting service, you're not the only person that they looked at or have looked at, right? So when they fill out your form, remember, they've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 other competitors also going after them because that customer filled out multiple forms. You're not the only one that they filled out. And so if you understand that, you're going to realize quickly that if you don't go above and beyond and stand out against your competitors, yeah, that person is ready to buy. That lead is probably ready to buy something, but they might not be ready to buy from you because you're not giving them enough reason to take the next steps to actually buy from you. And that's where I think the belief of, hey, these leads aren't good or the leads aren't quality or I need to find a new source of leads somehow because these leads don't buy anything is 9 times out of 10 not the case. It's more about you're not selling them. You're not persuading and letting them know the true value that they will get working with you versus all the other forms that they filled out in the same exact day with another sales process 10 different times.
Exactly right. I think that's spot on. And there's two things that I would add to that. One is that just like any tool, right, or any like say someone gave me a bag with some hammers and some nails and some wood and a saw, I might be able to build a box and someone else might be able to build a whole gymnasium, right?
Yep.
Because they know how to use the tools in a different way. And so it's kind of the same thing. Your leads are just leads, and different skill sets and different follow up processes and different, attention to process will help turn that opportunity into a completely different thing than one that lacks. And then the other thing I would say is that I think it's easy to forget our own behaviors on social media.
Yep.
I don't even remember the post that I saw this morning,
Yep.
and it's the same day, let alone something
I
I
don't
saw.
remember the one from 3 minutes ago.
Exactly, exactly. Let alone something from days ago. And so these people are raising their hand, and you try to follow up as quickly as you can. But you got to, I said this to a client once, and I think it resonated really well. So I'll share it with the audience. Someone is in a certain state when they fill out that form.
Yep.
Something happened, something triggered, and they're in a state. 3 minutes later, they can be in a completely different state. So part of your process in selling and actually getting people to buy something from you is getting them back into that state that they were in when they were ready to actually take an action. So those are all things that I think are the importance is underassumed by a lot of people.
Well, the other thing too is I want to make a point. We are not, as a marketing agency, saying that all business owners are bad or that we have no accountability whatsoever with the types of leads we're getting. That's not the point we're making. The point we're making is you want to pay attention and we want to raise awareness of what the reality of the situation is, which is the people that are filling out your forms are interested. There's no doubt about it. If they weren't, they wouldn't fill out the form. Now, is it if they're interested with you? And that's where I want to kind of pivot to. All right, so then what do we do? What are the action steps, right? So we're telling you you need to know sales and you need to know this and that. Let's get some tangible. So number one, you should be writing out your sales process. It should be documented, right? So we have our three-step sales system where we go intro, demonstration, close, right? That's the three-step sales system. Then we have specific questions that we ask in a specific order, and then we have a specific demonstration and a specific way to ask for the sale, and then a specific way to do the onboarding process. If you do not have these pieces in place, you're going to have a very inconsistent experience with running marketing and getting leads and sales, not because the marketing isn't working or that your business is not good. It's that you're not doing a repeatable system over and over again that's proven, right? And the only way to get it proven is to have it documented and fine tune it, right? So you want to make sure you have these pieces in place before you start doing the marketing, because if you don't, you're going to get a bunch of leads. None of them are going to convert and you're going to get frustrated and you're going to think something's wrong with your business or something's wrong with you. And that's simply not the case. It's mostly process, mostly system. You could even borrow our system that I just said, which is intro, demonstrate, close. You could even borrow that if you like and just start there. But have a system in place if you want to succeed with the marketing.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about today's world is a lot of this stuff can be automated. So you can automate your text, your emails. You can even create AI chatbots that actually talk to the prospect for you. So it's not as challenging or time consuming as it was years ago. But like Greg said, it's just all about having a process in place. I take most of our sales calls, and Greg takes a lot of our sales calls, and I can tell you the conversations follow a pattern,
Yep. Every time.
almost every time. Yeah.
Every time.
Without fail. And the ones that are successful follow the pattern. And when someone gets me off the pattern, then those calls are typically less successful because we got off the system. So it's important to have a system. And if you need one, you can always reach out to us so we can help you put one together.
Well, and here's another thing. You have to know your numbers. So I talked to, I won't even say his name, but he knows who he is. I talked to him a few days ago, and he would laugh if he saw this. But I asked him, so what's your average order value? How much do people spend? What's your conversion rate? How many calls are you doing? How many clicks do you get? He knew none of these answers. He just knew that he wanted to grow his business. And the problem with that's kind of like saying I want to go on a vacation to Hawaii, but I don't know where my car is. I don't know I have done no research. I don't know anything. Well, you're not going to get there because you haven't done the research and you haven't like thought the process through. And so what you really want to do is focus on know all of your numbers, know cost per click, cost per acquisition, how much a customer is worth to you. And then once you know those numbers, then you really need to understand what is your actual conversion rate. Okay, not a guess. Okay, so when I ask business owners, what's your closing rate? Everyone tells me 70 to 80%. If I have more people in front of me, I'm going to sell them. And then you give them more people in front of them and they don't sell them. And you go, well, what happened? Well, the problem is you're overestimating your closing percentage, right? You have to have a realistic closing percentage. No one is closing 80, 90, 100%. That's just not possible. You have to have your numbers so you know for every 10 people I talk to, I'm going to sign up one or two. And then what you do is you take those numbers and you back out and you go, how much does it cost for me to get those one or two sales? And does that make financial sense? And that's how the professionals do the marketing. All the big companies that you see, the successful ones that are selling millions of dollars worth of product, even billions of dollars of product, you could not walk into their organization and talk to whoever's in charge of those programs and then go, what's your average order value? I don't know. What's your online conversion rate? I don't know. Like you would never get those answers. And so you don't want to make those mistakes as a business owner.
Yeah, and some other things that I think are important to share with people is that we advertise to get our clients. We
Yep.
know we got to get like 50 leads to get a client. And so those are things that you got to think through. So when you're planning your budget, and there's some really cool tools that we've built to help people do this. But when you are planning your budget and you're trying to figure out what your goals are, you can actually have math to figure it out. And so that's why, like Greg said, knowing your closing percentage, knowing what how many leads you need to how many leads you need to get someone to actually pick up the phone, all of those things is going to be helpful to have more clarity. And when you have clarity, there's not as much fear, because a lot of what comes along with advertising is fear. I'm going to spend this money. I don't know if it's going to come back. But if you know your numbers, you can now have confidence that it's a system and a game in
Yep.
some ways.
Exactly. That's a good point. You'll have a lot less fear if you know exactly what your numbers are. If you know I'm going to get this many clicks, this many sales, this is the conversion rate. And that's the part that it's, in my opinion, I almost feel like it's more people are afraid to take a look into knowing the true numbers. And there's nothing to be afraid. If anything, all the opportunity lies right there, because then it gives you an opportunity to make improvements, changes, get better conversion rates, understand where you need to, improve in your communication or how your ads are running. And then you can start building historical data, which makes you feel even more confident that if I spend this money, it's more than likely going to come back. And that's where you want to get. You actually want to get to the point where you're trying to spend more. That's a counterintuitive, thought process that really you're never taught, right? Everyone always tells you to budget or cut, but no one ever tells you you should spend more. But in this case, if you have a system that for every dollar you spend, you're able to figure out that you get X amount of dollars back, then why would you not invest more? In fact, yesterday I had a phone call with a client and she had a great year. We figured out after doing all the math, and the only promotion she's doing is running ads. For every dollar she spent, she made $15 back.
Wow.
Okay. And no, we're not talking about she only sold $20,000 last year. Okay. She has a very successful business and her plan is to double it. When I showed her what those numbers were and she did not know that's what her numbers were, I said, you pretty much have no risk because you have so much room within your return on ad spends that you would have to do something terribly wrong to start losing money. And when she saw those numbers and heard kind of where she could go, she was ready to go. Let's go. Let's double it. But before that, when she didn't know, she wasn't sure. Should I spend more? Should I be cutting costs in this place or that place? And so that's why you want to know all of your numbers, because that can give you the motivation. A lot of times business owners are actually missing out on opportunities because they don't know their numbers. It's not that if you knew your numbers, you'll go backwards. Typically, you're already ready to go. You just don't know your numbers to actually take that next step.
Yeah, no, spot on. And so many people that we work with, once they figure out their numbers and once they implement a system for following up and they have a system for their sales process, and you don't have to be a hardcore closer, you don't have to be any of those things. Like, don't, I don't want you to have a misconception. You just have to have a process where, making sure people are qualified, tell them about your program, and making them an offer.
And if you
So,
want a little hack with you don't want to be a hardcore closer, our philosophy that I teach my company, the people I've worked with in the past, sell to help. And that's all
yep,
selling is. It's just helping other people achieve the goals that they want. If you just generally try to sell to help, you can be a great salesman because people can feel your energy and your intent on why you're doing something and what you're saying. Right? So if you just sell to help and you just go, you know what, I don't even know script right now, but when I talk to this prospect, I'm going to only pay attention to what they have to say and how I can help them achieve their goals. You will sell way more than if you're going into it with the intent of, let me just close this person and follow this script. That's not going to work.
yeah, no, spot on. And I think between the both of us, we've been in sales like, I don't know, 30 some years. So, uh, yeah, I completely agree. I think you could take all the stuff in the world, but if you have bad intentions, if you don't have the right intentions, people can sense that, especially nowadays. So, just sell the help. But yeah, no, I think this was valuable. Hopefully, people watching got some value from it.
Yeah, so I think if you ever need help with any of this stuff, you can go to our website, fitchermarketing.com, and you can book a free strategy session with us, with myself, with AJ, or both of us, and we can, help you fix and audit all of your marketing so that for every dollar you are investing, you're getting a return, and we can help remove some of that fear that maybe you have when it comes to investing in your business and in yourself. So, um, with all that said, thanks for listening today. And once again, I'm Greg Marshall.
And AJ Lewis, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take it easy.